Women's History Month and speaking to women that are actually making history with their businesses, helping empower other women in their professions. And today I have my friend and colleague, Jade. It's Bernard, right?
Berniard.
Berniard. Okay, Berniard. As you guys notice, I don't pronounce names well.
Okay.
So Jade is a financial advisor with Edward Jones, and she believes that serving others is critical to our growth as a society and as individuals. She serves her clients by using an established process to understand what's important to them and then creates a personalized strategy for each unique situation. Whether it's planning for retirement, saving for college, or planning for the future, she is here to serve her clients. So, Jade, thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, tell us a little bit more about what you do, how you got into financial advising, and maybe a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, sure. So what I do is, I help people to create a plan for whatever goal that they have, whatever financial goal that is. So retirement, saving for college education, maybe saving for a down payment on a house. I will create a personalized strategy for each of my clients using investments that we have at Edward Jones that have been scrutinized very, very deeply so that we know that they're safe for each of our clients. So I'll put together a portfolio that goes with each of my clients' time horizon, their goal, and their tolerance for risk as well. So we put that all together into a portfolio, and then I make sure that they keep contributing to their account so that their money keeps growing because I'm really a coach. And a lot of people ask me, like, what's the point of having a financial advisor when I could just go to like a no fee brokerage like Fidelity, I'm like, well, are you going to remember when to contribute to your account? Are you going to rebalance when you need to? Are you going to sell when you get scared? Are you going to basically buy high and sell low? That's what I'm here for, to help you through the market changes and to keep you on track for your goals.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that you serve people. I mean, that's so important, is to serve people and making a personalized plan for them, because everybody's risk tolerance is different. People's goals are different. Their timeline is different. One thing you mentioned was save for a house. So usually when we think about investments, it's usually 20, 30 plus year investments. So how do you help them save for a house? Like, what does that look like?
So usually what I do, some people will say, okay, I want to buy this big of a house, so it's going to be this big of a down payment. So I'm like, okay, you're going to need, I don't know, $50,000 in 5 years. So that's a short time horizon. And then depending on their tolerance for risk, I'll create a portfolio that's usually a little bit less risky. So more bonds than there are stock, because stocks are a little bit riskier. Bonds, you're getting monthly interest all the time. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that that portfolio stays pretty low volatility. So by the time they get to 5 years, they're not, what am I trying to say? So let me give you an example. Long-term retirement, it's okay if you have a lot of volatility within 5 years. But if you are having a short-term goal and you get to 5 years and it's gone down, that's not good, because you need that $50,000 at 5 years, right?
Right.
So,
So you put it in what's low risk, but will almost guarantee a return.
Yes. So you're looking at maybe like 3 to 5% rather than 5 to 7. So it's not as big of a return, but you're going to have that 50,000 at 5 years.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So tell us exactly, what do financial advisors do?
So it's It's a funny question because a lot of times people think I do like what you do, like help them pay down their debt and everything and get all the money straight. What I really am is an investment advisor, and I'll create retirement accounts for you. And then I will manage the investment within your Roth IRA, within your traditional IRA. So that's mostly what I'm doing. I also do life insurance. I don't do it as much because a lot of people have it through work. So yeah, that's the gist of what a financial advisor actually does.
So you're helping them to build the wealth. You're bringing your expertise in this marketplace that's very confusing to most of us. And you're kind of bringing that knowledge and taking all these factors, their goals, their timeline, their risk tolerance, and all this stuff to make a plan and then help them achieve those goals by investing their money and knowing what to do with it, right?
Exactly. So a lot of times people will come to me, they're like, I'm making all of this money and I have like $500, $1,000 left over every month. What do I do with it? I'm like, okay, well, where's your income? Where's this? And then I'm like, okay, you can open a Roth IRA. We'll put the 500 or 1,000 every month into that Roth IRA. I will manage the investments and we'll watch it grow for your retirement, basically.
Right. Because again, it's confusing and it changes all the time, right? If we're working, we're having our lives, we don't necessarily have time to look and watch the market all the time, whereas that's what you're paid to do. That's your job and expertise, is to watch what the market's doing. And being able to say, hey, the market's getting a little wavy, but just hold on because it's going to even out, or hey, we need to get out of this, or whatever it is.
Right.
And you're not playing the emotional part, right? We're like, oh my gosh, the market's crashing, get our money out.
Yeah, that is not me. We stay level. I even yesterday I had a client come in. She owned some McDonald's, and we were trying to rebalance her account. She had too much risk in her account, and she was like, "Oh, but I love McDonald's. I loved when I worked there." And I was like, "Well, it's okay. It's doing okay right now, so we don't have to sell it. We'll sell something else." And she was like, "Well, I don't want to be emotional with it." And I was like, "Trust me, if you were being in the feels and it was doing bad, I would tell you we need to sell it."
Yeah.
Yes,
because we can get emotional. Well, we are emotionally attached to our money. We are, and we make a lot of our decisions emotionally. Because that's just who we are as people. We just tend to do that. So that's when we need experts and coaches and wise counsel, I call it, around us to help us kind of get through that emotion and make the correct decision in the end. Because it's not that our emotions are bad or good. They are what they are, but and we feel them. We don't really have control over what we're feeling about something, but we can have experts come in and help us so that we make the right decision through our emotion.
exactly.
So let me ask you, with that said, what are some mistakes you see people making when it comes to investing?
One of them that I said early is a lot of people will tend to buy high and sell low. So that means they're buying when the price is at $10 and then they're selling when it's $5. So they're losing money. And that often happens when you're playing with your emotions, when you're trying to time the market, and when you're listening to weird things on the internet. It happens.
It does. There's some weird stuff that goes around about everything. So that's why we have to always seek professionals and talk to multiple people if we're not sure. Because even as professionals, they have different opinions as well.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So what other mistakes besides listening to weird advice or getting on this emotional roller coaster of buying high and selling low do you see other people making?
I feel like I don't necessarily know if I see a lot of mistakes. I see a lot of just incorrect information that people hear, where they're like, oh, they make too much money to contribute to a Roth. So they're like, oh, I want to open a Roth. And then they find out that they can't actually contribute to it. So we have to figure out a way for them to invest and get tax-free income in the future without having a Roth. So there's just a lot of misinformation out there. Or a lot of people will come and they'll be like, I want like all the tech stocks. That's all I want to be in. And so that's another mistake, not being diversified. So what I always tell my clients is, if you come into a building, you come across 2 elevators. One elevator has a single cable. The other elevator has 10 cables. Which one do you want to go into?
Yeah, the one with multiple cables.
Multiple cables. So,
but then we blindly step on the one with one cable. Sometimes we're like, well, I'm not sure. Right. Maybe it'll go a little faster.
Yes. So I always say, it's better to have your money spread out between a bunch of things instead of putting, all your eggs in one basket. And like a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, I know you don't really like real estate because you deal with like stocks and bonds. I'm like, that's not true. Real estate is an investment, and it's a great investment, and you could have some of your money in that. So I feel like there's just a lot of misinformation that people have out there.
That's true. And maybe also people that are putting that out there is their opinion. Mm-hmm. Or even maybe another professional who doesn't want people to invest in real estate. They're kind of doing stuff based on their own benefit and not the benefit of the client.
Correct. Yes. And that happens, which is unfortunate. Mm-hmm.
It happens in every industry. So, you just, again, gotta, I think, interview multiple people, maybe ask for, if you can, testimonials or things like that. And even, hey, if they're able to talk to the clients themselves and ask about their experience, that's something great to do too, and try to do a little more market research on who you're trusting your money with, because right. It's a big thing. And we've seen, you guys get bad names because these people just do crazy things with other people's money and create a bad name for everybody in the industry. So I think just, again, being careful and doing your own market research is great. Yeah. So tell me, what makes you different than your competitor?
I think I'm different from my competitors because I actually want to know the client. And I feel like there's a real one-on-one relationship. And not only do I want to know the client, like I said in my intro, I want to serve my clients. So this is almost like a ministry for me. I want to be there to help my clients, whether or not that makes me money or not. I have a lot of clients who just have money that they got from a sale of a home. They don't know what they need to do with it. So I'm just holding it in a safe place. I don't get paid on it, but I want their money to be safe. So I think that's what sets me apart. I serve my clients.
And I appreciate that, because we do need to, we all need to make money. That's we all need to make money. That's just the way life is. But when we become where we're not serving people and we're only serving ourselves, it becomes the problem. And we get bad names in the industry. So I appreciate that about you. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And I love that you're holding their money, because even though nobody's making money off of it, but it gives them like a couple extra steps to go through if they have like this impulse buy, right?
Right.
And somebody they have to tell, well, Jade, I just need $10,000 of that 50,000, and you guys are able to talk through that before they make that emotional decision. I love that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So what is do you have a niche, or do you have a specific type of person or something that you like to serve, or that you attract?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's because of my mom. My mom is a nurse. She's been a nurse, I think, for like, I think over 30 years now, because she started before I was born. So what has happened is she refers all of her friends and coworkers to me. So
Nice.
I work with a bunch of nurses, and I have come to know their retirement plans really well. Usually, it's like a 403(b) and a pension. So that's who I attract and who I work with. Women in the health space, usually nurses. Mhm.
Okay. Well, that segued into a great question is, okay, so they have these retirement things set up for them, right?
Mhm.
How do you come in and help them with that? And what would it benefit them to work with you?
So usually, if they're close to retirement, what they're thinking is, do I have enough money to retire? And so I have this platform. It's called Financial Foundation. And we put in everything that they have for retirement. So their 403(b), their pension, their Social Security, whatever else that they have saved up, maybe in another traditional IRA or something. And we put all of that information in there, and the software crunches the numbers, has some algorithms, and it spits out, this is how far you're on track for your retirement. Or, yes, you're on track for your retirement. You're going to have this much left over when you eventually pass. And usually we say that's like 90 because we don't have a crystal ball, so we just we just average it. So that's what a lot of people come to me for, to see if they're okay for retirement. And then a lot of times they'll say, well, I have like a lot of extra income and I don't know what to do with it. And like I said, I'm like, okay, well, maybe we can open another retirement account and put away more just to cushion your retirement.
Yeah. And I think also, do you talk about what retirement looks like? Because that also depends on what we need to be putting away, right?
Yes. So in the Financial Foundation program, we put in how much do you want to spend during retirement, and that usually is based off of what you're spending now. Because if you're spending $5,000 a month now, just because you retire doesn't mean you're going to spend less than that. You're going to find a way to spend all of that. Even if you have a mortgage, you're going to be like, oh, well, I have all this extra money. Let's go out to eat more, right? So we usually just base it off of what you're spending now. And then we do go through, I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to travel, or do you just want to stay home and like garden? And that gets baked into the program as well, and it'll spit it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how often do you meet with your clients? Because, sometimes we think of financial advisors as one and done, but our life changes. We have things that happen. So how often do you recommend that somebody talk to their financial advisor?
I would recommend at least twice a year. Some people can do one, but if you can do more frequently, I prefer that. And usually that's what happens. We'll meet for an annual or semi-annual review, and then sometime during the year, they'll be like, hey, something's changed. Can we meet? So I would say the happy medium is maybe like 2 to 3 times a year. I think that would be good.
Okay. And what would be something that changed in their life that they would need to say, hey, I need to call my financial advisor?
So that would be, you changed jobs, you moved, maybe there was a death in the family, maybe you had a kid, or you got married. So any of those big changes in life, sometimes there aren't those big changes. Sometimes it's just, I got a raise, so I have some extra cash. Or sometimes people are just like, I'm just not feeling safe. This is when like life insurance will come up for me. They'll be like, I feel like I need more. And so we'll go into the life insurance conversation. Yeah.
So I want to encourage you with that, because you said you don't really push it because they have it through work. But if they leave the job, they lose that insurance, and then it's going to be more expensive. So have that conversation a little more often.
Oh, well, thank you.
And that's something to also bring up to them, like, hey, not that something would ever happen, but we don't know. People are like, I've been here for 20, 30 years. Nothing's going to happen. I said, well, look what happened to Sears. Look what happened to Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Things happened. So, and you don't know what the CEOs are doing. They're in it for themselves, not for the betterment of their employees. So you got to take care of you first. And life insurance is a must, as we know, as well as investing.
Correct. Yes.
So tell me how you help women specifically.
So I think one of the big ways that I help women specifically, I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but usually we live longer. And so what happens is some women let their husbands do all the investing, and they don't really get involved, and they're just like, oh, my husband will do it. And then when he finally passes, they get everything. And so a lot of time, I have a lot of clients who got everything, and they're just like, I have no idea what to do. So I really like helping those clients because I really feel like I'm adding value to their life, and they're usually so grateful because they're usually a little bit older, and it's a little bit harder for them to learn all of this in like a year while they're also grieving. So I think that's one of the more specific ways that I help women. For younger women, I think it's just education so that they don't end up like that. So that they are involved in the financial planning through the whole thing. They're not just letting their husband take care of all of it. So a lot of it is just education.
That's awesome. That's very important. And I think women need to get more involved in the finances, whether they're going to make the decision, okay, he wants to do you're going to let him do all the investing. That's fine. But at least know something about it.
Right.
At least know what's going on. Where's the money going when you pass?
Mm-hmm.
And even with the younger girls, like, yes, get involved.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how little or how much they make, get involved. Don't let them say, I'll take care of it. I've seen so many women get screwed because they don't know what's going on. Their husband leaves them and they're left with nothing. And you just got to get involved, ladies. Even, fight him tooth and nail, but get involved and get educated. Know what's going on in your house with your money.
Right.
Even if you feel like you're not contributing with money, but you are contributing to the household, however way you do it, you have value, and you should know what's going on. So
absolutely,
I'll get off my soapbox now. We got to empower those women, Jade. We got to empower them with that, with their finances and knowing what's going on.
Absolutely.
So who might need someone like you?
So like all those changes of life that I mentioned. So if you had a baby, if you recently got married, if you are going to retire soon, or if you have already retired and you're just like, holy cannoli, I don't know if I actually did this right. That happens. I had a client who retired a couple weeks ago, and well, actually not a client yet. It was a referral, and they were like, I retired a couple weeks ago and I kind of just did it. And I was like, oh, well, let's see if we're okay. He was okay. It was fine. But just people who want to know that they're going to be okay, or people who are planning early and want to get started putting away money.
So you brought up a good question. So people retire and they think, well, why do I need a financial advisor? What would be your role in that retirement part?
So in the retirement part, your money is still invested. You still need to manage all of those investments within your retirement accounts. And not only do you need to manage the investment part, but you need to manage the distribution part. Because when you retire, you don't have your income from your job. You have your income from your Social Security, your pension if you have one, and your retirement accounts. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that all of your investments are in line, and then I'll say, we need to sell this, so you have this much for the year, and then we'll distribute this much. And that way we won't whittle down your account, because unless someone just wants to take everything out and not leave anything for their kids or grandkids, they want to make sure that there's some left over for their family. So I'm there to make sure that that happens.
And that they have enough to live on for however long they live.
Yes. Yes. First and foremost.
Right. So what do you want to do to change the world?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. What do I want to do to change the world? I think I just want to have, I guess I just want to have women more involved in the financial process of everything. Just because I come across so many women who are like, I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how he did this. So I want to educate as many women as possible. And I try to. A lot of them just aren't really interested. So I think maybe I want to increase the interest and the education level of women.
So why do you think they're not interested?
I feel like a lot of people, like a lot of men too, they feel like they have time. And that's, I think, one of the biggest misconceptions, is that you have time. Oh, I'll put it off until next year. And all of a sudden 5 years has gone by and you've put nothing away. Right?
Right. And so we have to talk about this power of compound interest.
Yes.
Because how much could you have made in that 5 years that you waited, and how much further you could have been along?
Exactly.
So I think investing as soon as possible. I mean, even parents, invest for your kids, start showing them how to do that, how to put money aside. And what do you think, what advice do you have for parents? Maybe what are some things they could do to help their kids to invest, or what are some avenues they could take?
Yeah, so they can do like a custodian account for their kids. I think there are like custodial Roths as well. There's a little more restrictions for the custodial Roth, but you can get them started early. So that's just like for like a brokerage account where you can hold whatever you want and it's still taxable. Not in the Roth, of course, but if you want to do like an education account, so that you can save for their college, or even you can use 529 money. That's what the account is called, a 529, for secondary school. You can use it for trade schools now. You can even use it for like internet if you're at home, homeschooled. So,
can you use it for private school?
I believe you can.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. They've like widely increased the amount of things that you can pay for things from your 529.
Oh, good. That could be another conversation for
it could
that
be.
we can get into. So for those that want to inquire about your services and how you can help them, how can they reach you?
You can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time. Even on my Facebook, and on my website, you can reach out through there. And you can also call my office. I just took over a new office in Costa Mesa. So
Fun.
yeah.
And I'll put all your information in below. So if you guys are watching the replay, you'll get all the information in, I guess, the description or whatever they call it on the platform. You guys will get that. So is there one last thing you want to say to people that they just need to do today?
Just start. Just do it. I know you're scared, and I know the market seems scary these days. But you need to do it. That's it.
Yeah. And I think something you also said was that we have time. We don't know how much time we have.
Right.
And so now is the time. Now is the time to get started.
Exactly.
Jade, thank you so, so much for coming and bringing your light and your knowledge to everybody and just helping us feel a little bit more at ease about this whole investing thing and financial advisors. And you're probably the sweetest financial advisor I know.
Aw.
So
Thank you.
thank you again for being here. And I appreciate you taking your time out.
Thanks so
And
much
being
for
here with
having
us
me.
and sharing with us. Yeah,
It's been great. It's been fun.
it's always fun. All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. Thank you so